Have you met Uncle Yaris? Well, if you haven't, let me introduce you to the 2006 Toyota Yaris. This car is only available at the moment as a hatchback and is replacing the Echo hatchback, which in fact was a Yaris, but only here did we call it the Echo hatchback. It has been completely redesigned for 2006, and let me say, they've done a great job. If there's one thing I do like about the car is its styling. It's very Euro looking, and every time I see one, I really feel like I'm somewhere in Europe, say Paris for example, if only for a moment. So what do we find under the hood of a very compact car? Well, obviously a very compact engine. Under the hood of the Yaris, which is basically what, about 1.5 feet long, which is pretty comical, it's a 1.5 liter inline 4-cylinder equipped with VVT-i technology, which is variable valve timing. It develops 106 horsepower and 103 pound-feet of torque. There are 2 transmission choices, 4-speed automatic or a 5-speed manual, such as equipped over here. Braking is done through front wheel discs, rear drums. Suspension is independent in the front, semi-independent in the rear. And what that translates into is very interesting road handling abilities. Although very light and sensitive to crosswinds, it still has a good tendency to take curves with much aplomb. I mean, it handles good, adherence is pretty good, even when equipped with the winter tires, as we have here. Another point of interest is the fact that steering is electronic, so it's very light when you're on, say, the road or an urban area, but as soon as you hit the highway, it weighs up very nicely, feedback is good, and feel is nice as well. Well, speaking of a compact car, there are always some shortcomings, and perhaps one of the biggest ones for the Yaris, well, it's the size of its trunk. Now, if you're a small family, you might have a hard time putting a baby stroller in there, and even only my day bag takes up, I'd say, nearly 50% of what is available. Otherwise, the interior space is pretty good. There's a lot of volume, there's good room for 4 adults, a lot of headroom too, especially. It's something you can possibly get used to if you don't mind putting the seats down, as the volume will probably almost quadruple. So, other than a small trunk, really as far as the interior space is concerned, it's pretty good. The interior of the Yaris is kind of like the exterior. There's a lot of design, a lot of little things that are going on. And the principal thing, especially if you like storage space, well, let me tell you that there is so much storage space in this car, you wouldn't believe it. And I'm skipping some stuff. Everything in here opens up. You can practically move into the car. You can put all your clothes almost. Anyhow, it's kind of cool, and in fact it has a little bit less interior storage space than the previous Echo sedan and hatchback, which had tons of it. Now, gauge pod is located in the center upper portion of the dash. It's very easy to read. You just have to move your eyes only a few centimeters to the right. Everything is there. The only thing really that is missing is a temperature gauge, but there's a little indicator that'll tell you while the engine is cool at the moment, and then when it goes away, that means it has reached normal operating temperature. Steering is quite nice. This is in fact an RS version, so we have a shifter. The only problem with the shifter really is the boot, but that's more aesthetics than anything else. Otherwise, the throws are very nice, tight, easy to work with. The clutch is very light as well. Steering wheel is good grip, good size. The seats may be the only little problem I have with them, which is kind of common with a lot of Toyota products, is that the lower cushion is a little bit short, so thigh support is a little bit limited. Otherwise, as I've mentioned before, there's tons of headroom. There's a good amount of elbow room for both front and rear passengers. Generally speaking, it's quite nice. I do like the way that the rotary knobs for the ventilation system is set up. It's like nothing else really available out there, and it's very easy to use. They're huge. Grip is good. Very simple, very straightforward. It has an optional MP3 reader radio, which is also a beautiful example of what can be simple, and the sound is pretty good to boot. Now, if we stay on the theme of compact and subcompact, well, for a small car, you have to expect to pay a small price. Well, that is the case. Base price for a Yaris 2-door is $13,580, and if you option it out and you take an RS like this one, you add on a few things, well, you're looking at just under $20,000. Now, this specific model has the optional package with the RS, which will give you ABS brakes and air conditioning, and it retails for $18,815. Now, I'm having an absolute blast driving this car. It's good on fuel. Even if I am well, I'm not beating it, but having a good time, let's just say. And it's zippy, it's quick, it'll squeeze in between anything. Turning radius is very, very short. I'm loving every moment behind the wheel of this car. I really couldn't ask anything more, unless if I was a little bit greedy, maybe I'd ask for an extra 15, 20 horsepower, but that would defeat the purpose of having a fuel economical car that is also a Toyota, which means it will be reliable.